This is Sebastian. I'm a co-founder here at Glide, and today I'm going to show you how to request disclosure forms from your client using Glide. So I'm going to start the process on my Glide dashboard, and I'm going to hit the Request Disclosure Forms button to begin. So here I have two options. I can either create a new transaction, or I can request disclosure forms from a transaction that I've already created. So here I'm going to create a new transaction, and I'm going to do 123 Main Street in Half Moon Bay. And the rest of the address information is going to auto-populate, and this is based on addresses from Google. And I also have the option to specify a contract stage and then my role. So I'm going to select listing agent for my role. So on this first screen here, I get to specify which forms I want to invite my client to complete. So at Glide, we support a variety of client-facing forms from the California Association of Realtors and other local associations. I can add additional forms by clicking on the Select Form button. I can also remove a form by clicking the X on the left-hand side. And if I have multiple forms, I can use the drag handle to reorder those forms. So for today, I'm just going to select the TDS, the Transfer Disclosure Statement, to invite my client to complete. So on this screen, I'll now need to specify the recipients for this form packet. So at a minimum, I'm going to need to have a listing agent and at least one seller. So here I can add my seller, and I can specify their first and last name and their email address. And I also have the option to add another listing agent and other recipients, like a transaction coordinator or an assistant. And so each recipient here is going to have one of two roles. Either they're a packet admin, which means they're going to be notified of all the client progress, and they'll also have the ability to control this form packet, meaning they can cancel it or resend the invitation. Or we have clients, and so clients can fill the form. They're the ones who are able to actually provide information on these forms. So once I've selected my recipients, next I'll be prompted to enter some details and these details are related to the forms that I've selected. So this is prompting me for information that the agent typically includes on these forms. So for example, on the TDS in section 3, the form asks whether the listing agent will attach an Avid form, for example. So if I specify that here, then that information is going to appear on my completed forms. So on my last screen here, I have an opportunity to confirm all of the details before I send this out. So here I can see that I'm sending out the transfer disclosure statement. Here are the recipients that we've selected. And down here, I have the opportunity to write a custom message to my seller. So I'm going to just stick with the default message here and hit finish. And at this point, I've now invited my client to complete their disclosure forms. So if I go over into my personal email, I can see an example of exactly what this is going to look like for my client. So here is that default message that we included. We're going to address the client by the first name based on what we entered in the recipient screen. And then as a client, all I have to do is hit the Get Started button to begin filling out the forms.